The placement of the moon in the fourth house of a natal chart is one of the most potent and at-home positions a planet can occupy. In astrology, the fourth house is the natural domain of Cancer and the moon itself. When the moon resides here, there is a profound alignment between the planet of emotion and the house of the private self, creating an individual whose internal world is as vast and deep as the ocean. The foundation of the soul. For an individual with this placement, the home is not merely a physical structure made of wood and stone, it is a psychological sanctuary and a literal extension of the self. The fourth house represents our roots, our ancestry, and our literal floor. With the moon here, the emotional state is inextricably linked to the sense of domestic security. If the home environment is chaotic, the individual's internal world will feel fractured. Conversely, when their living space is harmonious, they possess an incredible capacity for emotional resilience. There is often a deep, almost psychic connection to the past. These individuals are the historians of their own families, often carrying the emotional weight of their lineage. They possess a scent memory or a feeling memory that allows them to recall the exact emotional temperature of a room from 20 years ago. This can lead to a beautiful sense of continuity, but it also means they may struggle to let go of old hurts, carrying childhood impressions into their adult lives with vivid intensity. The influence of the mother and the matriarchal line. The moon traditionally represents the mother or the primary caregiver. In the fourth house, the mother figure often looms large, for better or worse. This placement suggests a mother who was either the emotional bedrock of the family or someone whose own shifting moods dictated the climate of the household. The individual often inherits a nurturing instinct that is unparalleled. They tend to mother everyone they love, creating found families and ensuring that no one in their circle goes hungry or unloved. However, this can manifest as a need to be needed. The fear of abandonment can be quite high here, leading the person to cling to people or situations long after they have soured, simply because the familiarity of the known feels safer than the uncertainty of the new. The need for privacy and retreat. While others may seek validation in the public sphere, the 10th house, the moon in the 4th house finds its truth in the dark. These are inherently private people. Even the most extroverted 4th house moon needs a hermit cave where they can retreat to process their feelings without the gaze of the world. There is a distinct ebb and flow to their energy. Much like the tides, their moods are cyclical. They may go through periods of intense social activity followed by weeks of domestic seclusion. During these reclusive phases, they aren't being antisocial, they are literally recharging their emotional batteries. Without this downtime, they risk becoming waterlogged, overwhelmed by the emotional residue of the people around them. Real estate and the final chapter. On a more literal level, this placement often indicates a deep interest in land, real estate, or genealogy. The physical house is often a project that is never truly finished because it is a living reflection of their soul. They may move frequently in search of the perfect feeling, or they may stay in the same ancestral home for a lifetime, unable to sever the tie to the land. Astrologically, the 4th house also represents the end of matters or the later years of life. Having the moon here suggests that the individual will find great peace and emotional fulfillment in their later years, likely surrounded by family and the comforts they have spent a lifetime building. There is a sense that life comes full circle, returning to the soft, intuitive, and protected state of the beginning. The shadow side, emotional enmeshment. The challenge for a 4th house moon is learning where they end and their family begins. Because their sensitivity is so dialed into their environment, they can easily become emotional sponges. They might mistake their mother's anxiety or their partner's frustration for their own. Learning to set emotional boundaries is the great work of this placement. They must understand that they can be a source of comfort for others without drowning in the other person's storm. When they master this, they become the ultimate holding space, individuals who can provide a sense of home and belonging to anyone lucky enough to enter their private world. When the moon is in the 4th house, the sign it inhabits acts as the flavor of the individual's private sanctuary and the specific way they process their deepest feelings. Aries, the home is a place of activity and sometimes friction. emotional security is found through independence and having a space where they can be first. There is a restless energy at the roots of the soul. Taurus, this is one of the most stable placements. Security is found in physical comfort, good food, and financial predictability. The home is often beautiful, tactile, and serves as a literal fortress against the world. Gemini, the home is a library or a hub of communication. Emotional peace comes from intellectual stimulation. These individuals may move often or have two homes, and they process their deepest feelings through talking or writing. Cancer, the moon is at home here. This creates an incredibly sensitive, psychic, and nurturing individual. The connection to the mother and the past is profound. They are the ultimate protectors of the family unit. Leo, there is a sense of royal pride in the home. The private life is colorful and warm. They need to feel like the heart of their domestic sphere and often express their inner world through creative or dramatic flair. Virgo, emotional security is found in order and ritual. The home is likely clean and highly functional. They soothe their inner child by being productive and may show love through acts of service to family members. Libra, harmony in the home is a non-negotiable requirement for mental health. They have a deep need for a peaceful, aesthetically pleasing environment and often seek a partner to help them build a nest. Scorpio, the private life is intense and highly secretive. There is a don't tread on me energy regarding their family. They seek deep emotional transformation and may experience significant upheavals in their early domestic life. Sagittarius, the home feels wide open. They may feel most at home while traveling or living in a foreign land. Their roots are philosophical rather than physical, and they need a sense of freedom even within their private life. Capricorn, emotions are handled with a sense of duty and caution. They may have felt a heavy responsibility in the home from a young age. They find security in tradition, structure, and building a legacy that lasts. Aquarius, the home life is unconventional or bohemian. They may view their friends as their true family. Emotional security is found in having the space to be unique and detached from traditional societal expectations of domesticity. Pisces, the home is a spiritual or artistic retreat. There is a porous boundary between their inner world and reality. They find peace through solitude, music, or proximity to water, often acting as the emotional healer of the family. While the natal moon in the fourth house represents a lifelong temperament, the transit of the moon through this sector is a brief, 2-day emotional retreat that occurs once every month. It is a period of low tide for the outer ego and high tide for the private soul. The withdrawal into the shell. When the moon transits your fourth house, the focus shifts sharply from the public square to the kitchen table. You may find yourself canceling plans, avoiding the noise of social media, and feeling an almost magnetic pull toward your own four walls. This is not a time for conquest, it is a time for maintenance. You are checking the foundation of your life. During these few days, your skin feels thinner. You are more susceptible to the moods of those you live with, and a messy house can feel like a direct assault on your mental clarity. There is a psychological need to clear the decks, which often manifests as a sudden urge to clean, reorganize, or finally fix that leaking faucet. By tidying your physical space, you are symbolically tidying your internal emotional state. Nostalgia and the memory loop. This transit often triggers a wave of nostalgia. You might find yourself scrolling through old photos, reaching out to a parent, or craving comfort food from your childhood. The subconscious mind is closer to the surface during this window, making it an excellent time for journaling or reflection. However, the ebb and flow of this transit can also bring a touch of moodiness or restlessness. Because the fourth house is the bottom of the chart, you are effectively standing in the basement of your psyche. If there are unresolved issues with family or a lack of security in your personal life, they will bubble up during this transit. You cannot run from your feelings when the moon is in the fourth, you have to sit with them. Practical application, the domestic reset. In a practical sense, the moon transiting the fourth house is the ideal time for recharging, prioritizing sleep and solitude over social obligations. Nurturing, cooking a slow meal or spending quiet, quality time with family. Home improvement, buying plants, changing the linens, or making the space feel more like a sanctuary. Ancestral work, thinking about your roots and where you come from. The turning point. As the moon finishes its journey through the fourth house, it crosses the Imam Sili, the lowest point of the chart, and begins its ascent toward the more social houses. This transit serves as the essential in-breath before you have to breathe out into the world again. If you honor this need for retreat, you emerge from the transit feeling grounded and emotionally resilient. If you fight it by pushing yourself too hard in the public eye, you may find yourself feeling burnt out and uncharacteristically fragile. In short, the fourth house transit is a monthly reminder that you cannot build a life that stands if the foundation isn't cared for. It is the time to go home, lock the door, and remember who you are when no one is watching. Subscribe, like, and share.